This is the most famous steam train in Canada, pulling passengers across the Parkland and the Prairies through the beating heart of Alberta, in a historic fleet of passenger cars that have stretched coast to coast since 1920. This is an experience you simply will not find anywhere else, from phenomenal meals to train robberies, going behind the scenes to find out how this century-old steam locomotive still works. It's all aboard here in Stettler with the Alberta Prairie Railway. Let's begin. Over the past year, I've traveled across Canada, uncovering the history that built our country and the mode of transportation that drove it. And while this journey has been nothing short of spectacular and still growing, it's maybe kind of sad to see the current state of the iron horses that stitch together the fabric of our country, being relegated to museum relics instead of doing what they were built to do. And coast to coast, only 20 Canadian steam locomotives dodged the scrapyard of the late 1950s. And even fewer are still in working condition. So today, here in Stettler, Alberta, I'm not riding a train. I am paying tribute to an era when steam reigned supreme at a time when these engines ruled the Great White North.
The next station is Terminus Station, YDR Airport.
And my journey starts bright and early at the crack of dawn here in Vancouver, where I would board a 60-minute flight over the Canadian Rockies and into Calgary at the YYC airport. I'd pick up my rental car and begin a 2.5-hour drive northeast from Calgary, across the plains and the prairies, into the heart of Alberta, here in Stettler. The town of Stettler has a population today of a little over 5,000 people. And the town was founded in 1905, shortly after the Canadian Pacific Railway had extended its main line from Calgary, but by 1911, the Canadian Northern Railway had opted to extend their new line from Edmonton south down to Big Valley, going right through Stettler. Now, the Canadian Northern Railway dissolved over 100 years ago, but the route that the Alberta Prairie Railway follows today is the same main line that the Canadian Northern Railway ran over a century ago. And Alberta Prairie has been pulling passengers since 1990, and today pulls just shy of 20,000 passengers annually, making it the most popular and famous steam train excursion in all of Canada. And I was here to find out what makes it so special. So good morning from Stettler, Alberta, the heart of the prairies as they call it, actually just an hour and change outside of Hanna, Alberta, home of Canada's greatest band, Nickelback. I'm going to be riding the most famous steam train excursion in all of Canada. So this is our ride today. This is a Baldwin steam locomotive. She was designed 1918, brought to life in 1920, and she's been running ever since. But she came down from Huntsville, Alabama. She weighs 80 tons. And Shane right here, he came in at 7 a.m. this morning to make sure she's warm and generously lubed up before we get moving for 2:30 sharp. But Kelly, who you'll see here in a few minutes, he is the boss with the hot sauce. He is the chief engineer and one of the most qualified steam engineers in the country. Nothing here moves an inch without him. How was that? Was that spot on? Spot on. Nailed it. And behind me here, this is the station that the Alberta Prairie Railway operates out of. Now, I hate to be the bad news bears, this is not the original station. The original one was built in 1920 by the Canadian Northern Railway, classified as a Class 3 station. Class 3 being the biggest, 2 being not so big, and number 1 being small. It has since been relocated as a museum, but this station was built roughly 40 years ago. And then let's talk about the car consist, because this is really cool. The fleet is all original Canadian national passenger cars built in the mid to early 1920s / early 1930s, a little bit of a mix, with the exception of 3 electric streetcars from Quebec that were built in the 1950s. They're very easy to spot when you look at the consist. But I think my favorite part about the consist is this, and that is the caboose. I think one of the saddest things on train fleets is when there is no ending car, no final car, nothing to round out the consist and be the pièce de résistance, if you want to call it that. Now, the caboose is red and does not blend in with the retro Canadian National 1920s colors, the black and green, which I love the colors, by the way. I love the fact that they have a finishing car on the consist. And especially on days like today where it's super hot, like right here, right now, it is plus 28. I think we're getting to a high of plus 32 today. That is Celsius for all the American viewers. So the crews in the engineering cab that slug it out, draw comparisons, you could probably cook an entire Thanksgiving turkey in the engineering cab up there. It is so hot. How's that? All right, so we're 5.5 hours in the process, 7 a.m. Shane came in, fired it up. We're 12:30. We're just about to start moving things now. One thing that I just got an appreciation for, so Drew and Kevin behind me, and myself as well, we're kind of dressed like diesel locomotive engineers. You wouldn't have to worry about too much inside the cab, but if you take a look, everything in the cab is screaming hot. So therefore, that's why he has the overalls, that's why he has the gloves on, because you're touching one thing away that's 400 or 500 degrees from burns. So another total respect to that element of the job of controlling the engine, controlling the locomotive, controlling the consist, giving a smooth ride, and then also not burning yourself. Like, the amount of skill required for this is, I'm getting such an appreciation for that today. And we should be 5 minutes away from moving. Passengers come in less than 2 hours. Consist. We went all the way back, and now we're going to hook up the knuckles and pull it, because passengers are coming in less than 1 hour. 1 hour till showtime. That is our fleet. Our whole consist pulled together. The steamer is ready to rock and roll. Passengers are going to be coming in less than 1 hour and doing the hour-and-a-half trek from Stettler down to Big Valley. But it's not possible without today's video sponsor, Air North. It's a more human way to travel with fresh sandwiches, local coffee, and warm cookies served to every passenger on board. And everybody gets 2 free checked bags, even in economy. And if you've seen how overcrowded Banff, Lake Louise, and all the other tourist hotbeds in Canada have become, then you need to experience Whitehorse. Yes, Whitehorse in the Yukon. From the untouched wilderness, never-ending adventure, and whether you're looking to relive the Klondike Gold Rush in Dawson City, or a relaxing getaway to a natural hot springs less than 25 minutes away from the airport, there is nowhere else on the continent that you will get this. So come experience all the Yukon has to offer, and on an airline that is truly family style, with warm cookies to accompany the best brew with an even better view, all made right here in Whitehorse, with service operating just down the road here in Calgary or Edmonton, Ottawa, Toronto, Kelowna, Vancouver, and Victoria to Whitehorse. And I'll be heading there in 2 weeks, so fly Air North and learn more when you click that first link in the video description. And thank you so much to Air North for sponsoring this video.
You're in 6603, you're going to go up these stairs, you're going to turn right, go through this first coach, into the second coach, look for the name on your ticket above the seats.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome aboard.
I'm going to do a consist tour of all the cars. So the first car of the entire consist is the bar car, so all the drinks, all your beverages, and this is just my opinion, coincidentally positioned right behind the engineers, so if they need a drink, you're just a quick throw away. That is at the front of the consist. Seats. Lots of them. Car number 3, more seats. Car number 4, nice seats. And they also have cool photos of old school steam locomotives throughout the entire consist, which I really appreciate. Car number 5, snacks, he's not included, and drinks. Car number 6 is the air-conditioned car. And by air-conditioned, I mean au naturel. Wide open windows, do as you please, as you see. Car number 7 is more seats, as you see here. Car number 8 is more seats and a playground for the kids. And our final car, which can't get to, is the caboose. Final car on the train, marked by the red color scheme. The only electrical powered car on the consist is this old school sleeping car. There's a generator underneath, powers everything for the whole train through here. And we are leaving in 15 minutes. Just like that, we'd head out of Stettler, en route for Big Valley, less than 2 hours away. Got a phone ring. although this route covers just 60 kilometers, on a gorgeous afternoon like today, we will see the terrain transform in real time from the wide open prairies as the steam engine climbs into Alberta's parkland, which is a mix of trees and rolling hills, shimmering lakes, and vibrant green fields. Oh, there she is. And does anybody recognize that? Leave a comment down below if you do. Now visually, I don't know if you could have possibly picked a better day to ride the rails. And although a little hot out, the breeze from the moving train helped keep things cool out here on the open air viewing car. And if you've never experienced the prairies, some of the thunderstorms that they get are pretty spectacular. And right on cue, soon the clouds would begin to close in, and it wasn't long before it started absolutely pouring. I mean, the rain was hammering down on the locomotive, as you see here, and any passengers made of sugar. Luckily, I'm not. But it wasn't even 10 minutes later, and the storm had completely cleared. The blue skies had returned, and we were back to a beautiful sunny afternoon, a typical prairie day. How cool is that? The coolest part of the scenery was right around the corner. Check this out. But there was trouble ahead, off in the distance.
Look what I stole, guys! Yoo! Come on now! He's my outlaw, folks. What up, folks? Hey.
And following our train robbery, where all the money stolen did go to charity, we were back on the move for a final descent into Big Valley. Big Valley is the midway point of this trip, and although today has a population of just over 300 residents, and a century ago it was the railway divisional point for the Canadian Northern, with as many as 25 to 30 trains arriving and departing daily. And any train maintenance for the Canadian Northern, it didn't happen in Edmonton, it happened here, right in Big Valley. And on top of being agriculturally rich with farming and cattle, it was also home to the second biggest oil discovery in Alberta's history. Now, the last regularly scheduled passenger train left here in 1981, and that was the RDC Dayliner, and RDC stands for Remote Driven Car, essentially a self-driving passenger train, as you see here. But after that, the tracks went quiet for about a decade, and since then, the only trains running on these tracks has been the Alberta Prairie excursions. Now, inside the station, it has been beautifully preserved with care and filled with history. When the Canadian Northern went bankrupt and absorbed into the newly formed Canadian National Railways in 1920, they rebranded the station as such, and today pretty much serves as a museum of the history of the Canadian National Railways. From a fantastic portrait of the Fort Garry Hotel in my birthplace of Winnipeg, Manitoba, which was actually a Canadian National Railway hotel from 1920 until 1978 when they took it over from the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway, and I actually did a dedicated video to that earlier this year, to the Jasper Park Lodge, which was the first railway hotel that the Canadian National opened in 1922 and would have to rebuild again in 1952 following a fire that burnt it to the ground. And I spent 2 nights there earlier this year at Christmas time. It's a breathtaking property to say the least. Or my favorite of the Canadian National hotels, the Chateau Laurier, which was the first Grand Trunk Pacific hotel, opened in 1912, and when Canadian National took over following World War I, it was the first hotel that they expanded, over doubling the room capacity. And you guessed it, I also did a dedicated video on that property earlier this year, and it has arguably the most gorgeous interior of any of Canada's Grand Railway hotels, as you see here. The town of Big Valley is a 3-hour stopover, and in my opinion, this is the highlight of the trip. For dinner tonight, the Alberta Prairie Railway was serving up a prime rib dinner. Slow roasted and seasoned to perfection, served medium rare, paired with roast potatoes, beans, and a rich gravy. And if you don't like prime rib,
I will look for you, I will find you, and I will kill you.
This was the perfect dinner to pair with Canada's most popular steam train, and top it off with a hot cup of joe and your choice of pie for dessert. And they even provide dinner with a show, with entertainment from some of the local legends right here, like Richard and Deborah. Now back at the station, there hasn't been a turntable or a reverse track for decades, so we are running a back and forth consist, which means that while we were having dinner, the crew would end up reversing the locomotive in preparation to pull us back to Stettler for later tonight. And as the sun would begin to set, we'd head off for the final stretch of our journey back to Stettler for later tonight. Our speed here is capped off at 15 miles an hour simply due to the fact that we are running a heritage fleet of cars. But this actually really amplifies the beauty of the landscapes around us. And with that golden hour light shining down, reflecting off the century-old cars, passing by fields of grazing cattle, with picturesque sweeping valleys, crossing after crossing, and the vast prairies that surround us. And if you've never ridden a train like this, there's such a big community aspect to it, and whether it's the amazing people that prepared our dinner tonight, to be honest, it's almost as much a social event as it is a means of transportation. And in my opinion, in a world that really lacks in-person interactions, it's a real treat. Plus a nostalgic experience that, even if you're not a train lover and a true train nerd like me, or some of the foamers standing trackside, this will seriously give you the itch. It's less about the destination and more about the experience. And as we rock up into Stettler, Alberta, marked by the original skyscraper of the prairies, a towering grain elevator, a century old, standing adjacent to the station, and that is it. That is Stettler. We are back. Round trip to Big Valley, prime rib dinner, complete. This capped off the end of a beautiful journey and a world-class experience here in the heart of Alberta. And if you're planning to ride the Alberta Prairie Railway, you're going to need a hotel, and I'd highly recommend staying at the Canalta Hotel here in town. They have an all-you-can-drink espresso and cappuccino machine, a fitness center, complimentary breakfast bags, and a water slide. And they're a proudly Western Canadian, family-owned brand with properties all across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, even in Banff. So a great option here, or for your next stay, anywhere across the prairies. The Alberta Prairie Railway is one of the last real railways in the world, not just offering a heritage steam train excursion in the summer, but continuing to run freight service throughout the winter. It's keeping history alive, keeping cars moving, and keeping core members of a community employed all year round. It truly is a labor of love, often imitated, but never duplicated. If you get the chance to come to Stettler, Alberta, just 2 hours away from Calgary, take the chance and come experience the magic of the railway. I want to know, have you rode this train? Have you been on another steam train in Canada, or just want to see Canada's biggest surviving steam locomotive run again? Whatever it is, leave it in the comment section below because I would love to hear it. And make sure you hit that subscribe button because next week is all about the White Pass and Yukon Route Railway. running from Skagway, Alaska, through the deserts of British Columbia into the Yukon on one of the most dramatic and cinematic steam train excursions on Earth that you will not want to miss. I want to say thank you so much to Air North for sponsoring this video, to the Alberta Prairie Railway for making all of this happen with the amazing work that they do, and thank you to you for watching. And I'll see you next week in Skagway, Alaska. I'll see you then.